Damn. Shalom, everybody. What's up? Welcome back to reading Rising Scripts. I thought I was going to get this in before a haircut, but my haircut just pulled up. So, hey, go over the books of the Bible right quick. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, 1 Kings, 2 Kings, 1 Chronicles, 2 Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi, 1 Esdras, 2 Esdras, Shalom. 2 Esdras, Tobit.
Oh, is that right, Mama?
Sirach, Judith. The rest of Esther, Wisdom of Solomon.
Tell me cheese, please.
Yes, sir. Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, which you're going to be reading out of. Baruch, the Song of the Three Holy Children. Bel and the Dragon. History of Susanna. Bel and the Dragon. Prayer of Manasseh. 1 Maccabees, 2 Maccabees, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, Romans, 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, 1 Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians, 1 Timothy, 2 Timothy, Titus, Philemon, Hebrews, James, 1 Peter, 2 Peter, 1 John, 2 John, 3 John, Jude, Revelations. Those are the books of the Bible. Let's jump into, right quick for my mama getting here for a haircut. Ecclesiasticus, go in chapter 6. Start with chapter 6. Memorial. Instead of a friend, become not an enemy, for thereby thou shalt inherit an ill name, shame, and reproach. And even shows.
I'll learn from them.
Don't open that door yet.
Okay.
Even so shall a sinner that hath a double tongue extol not thyself in counsel of thine own heart, that thou soul be not torn in pieces as a bull straying alone. Thou shalt eat up the leaves and lose thy fruit, and leave thyself as a dry tree. A wicked soul shall destroy him that hath it, and shall make him to be laughed and scorned of his enemies. Sweet language will multiply friends, and a fair-speaking tongue will increase a kind greetings. Be in peace with many, nevertheless, have but one counselor of 1,000. If thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first, and be not hasty to credit him. For some man is a friend for his own occasion, and will not abide in the day of thy trouble. And there is a friend who being turned to enmity and strife will discover thy reproach. Again, some friend is a companion at the table, and will not continue in the day of thy affliction. But in thy prosperity he will be as thyself, and will be bold over thy servants. Shalom, son.
Oh, I ate my cheese.
All right, let me finish reading. Don't go outside. Don't open the door yet. I'll tell you when to open the door for her.
But she's still waiting in the car?
Yeah, let it be. Move the other way. Let it be so I can read. But in thy prosperity he will be as thyself, and will be bold over thy servants. If thou be brought low, he will be against thee, and will hide himself from thy face. Separate thyself from thine enemies, and take heed to thy friends. A faithful friend is a strong defense, and he that hath found such is one hath found a treasure. Nothing doth countervail a faithful friend, and his excellence is invaluable. A faithful friend is the medicine of life, and they that fear the Lord shall find him. Whoso feareth the Lord shall direct his friendship aright, for as he is, so shall his neighbor be also. My son, gather instruction from thy youth up, so that thou find wisdom till thine old age. And come unto her as one that ploweth and soweth, and wait for her good fruits. For thou shalt not toil much in laboring about her, but thou shalt eat of her fruits right soon. She is very unpleasant to be to the unlearned, and he that is without understanding will not remain with her. She will lie upon him as a mighty stone of trial, and he will cast her from him ere it be long. For wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many. Give ear, my son, receive my advice, and refuse not my counsel. And put thy feet into her fetters, and thy neck into her chain, and bow down thy shoulder, and bear her, and be not grieved with her bonds. Come unto her with thy whole heart, and keep her ways with all thy power. Search and seek, and she shall be made known unto thee. And when thou hast got hold of her, let her not go. For at the last thou shalt find her rest, and that shall be turned to thy joy. Then shall her fetters be a strong defense for thee, and her chains a robe of glory. For there is a golden ornament upon her, and her bands are purple lace. Thou shalt put her on as a robe of honor, and shalt put her about thee as a crown of joy. My son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught, and if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent. If thou love to hear, thou shalt receive understanding, and if thou bow thy ear, thou shalt be wise. Stand in the multitude of elders, and cleave unto him that is wise. But be willing to hear every godly discourse, and let not the parables of understanding escape thee. And if thou seest a man of understanding, get thee betimes unto him, and let thy foot wear the steps of his door. Let thy mind be upon the ordinance of the Lord, and meditate continually in his commandments. He shall establish thine heart, and give thee wisdom at thine own desire. Chapter 7. Do no evil, so shall no harm come unto thee, and depart from the unjust, and iniquity shall turn away from thee. My son, sow not upon the furrows of unrighteousness, and thou shalt not reap them sevenfold. Seek not of the Lord preeminence, neither of the king the seat of honor. Justify not thyself before the Lord, and boast not of thy wisdom before the king. Seek not to be judged, being not able to take away iniquity, lest at any time thou fear the person of the mighty, and lay a stumbling block in the way of the unrighteous. Offend not against the multitude of a city, and then thou shalt not cast thyself down among the people. Bind not the one sin upon another, for in one thou shalt not be unpunished. Say not, God will look upon the multitude of my oblations, and when I offer to the Most High God, he will accept it. Be not faint-hearted when thou makest thy prayer, and neglect not to give alms. Laugh no man to scorn in the bitterness of his soul, for there is one which humbleth and exalteth. Devise not a lie against thy brother, neither do the like to thy friend. And use not to make any manner of lie, for the custom thereof is not good. Use not many words in a multitude of elders, and make not much babbling when thou prayest. Hate not thy laborious work, neither husbandry, in which the Most High hath ordained. Number not thyself among the multitude of sinners, but remember that wrath will not tarry long. And humble thy soul greatly, for the vengeance of the ungodly is fire and worms. Change not a friend for any good, by no means, and neither a faithful brother for the gold of Ophir. Forgo not the wise and good woman, for her grace is above gold. whereas thy servant worketh truly, entreat him not evil, nor the hireling that bestoweth himself wholly for thee. Let thy soul love a good servant, and defraud him not of liberty. Hast thou cattle? Have an eye to them, and if they be for thy profit, keep them with thee. Hast thou children? Instruct them, and bow down their neck from their youth. Hast thou daughters? Have a care of their body, and shew not theirself cheerful toward them. Marry thy daughter, and so shalt thou have performed a weighty matter. But give her to a man of understanding. Man, that's the one that needs to be done still today. Hast thou a wife after thy mind? Forsake her not. But give not thyself over to a light woman. Honor thy father and with thy whole heart, and forget not the sorrows of thy mother. Remember that thou wast begotten of them, and how canst thou recompense them the thing that they have done for thee? Fear the Lord with all thy soul, and reverence his priests. Love him that made thee with all thy strength, and forsake not his ministers. Fear the Lord, and honor the priest, and give him his portion, as is commanded thee, the first fruits, and the trespass offering, and the gift of the shoulders, and the sacrifice of sanctification, and the first fruits of the holy thing. And stretch thine hand unto the poor, that thy blessings may be perfected. A gift hath graced in the sight of every man living, and for the dead detain it not. Fail not to be with them that weep, and mourn with them that mourn. Be not slow to visit the sick, for that shall make thee to be beloved. Whatsoever thou takest in hand, remember the end, and thou shalt never do amiss. Chapter 8. Hey, get ready to open the door.
Okay.
Strive not with a mighty man, lest thou fall unto his hands. And be not at variance. Hey, just leave it. Don't open all the way. That's good. Yes, sir, that's fine. Be not at variance with a rich man, lest he overweigh thee. For gold hath destroyed many, and perverted the hearts of kings.
The grandma's coming out.
Strive not with a man that is full of tongue, and heap not wood upon his fire. Jest not with a rude man, lest thy ancestors be disgraced. Reproach not a man that turneth from sin, but remember that we are all worthy of punishment. Dishonor not a man in his old age, for even some of us wax old. And rejoice not over thy greatest enemy being dead, but remember that we die all. Despise not the discourse of the wise, but acquaint thyself with their proverbs. For of them thou shalt learn instruction, and how to serve great men with ease. Miss not the discourse of the elders, for they also learned of their fathers, and of them that thou shalt learn understanding, and to give answer as need requireth. Kindle not the coals of a sinner, lest thou be burnt with the flame of his fire, and rise not up in anger at the presence of the injurious person, lest he lie in wait to entrap thee in his words, in thy words. Lend not unto them that is mightier than thyself, and if thou lendest him, count it but lost. Be not surety above thy power, for if thou be surety, take care to pay it. Go not to law with a judge, for thou will judge for him according to his honor. And travel not by way with a bold fellow, lest he become grievous unto thee. For he will do according to his own will, and thou shalt perish with him through his folly. Strive not with an angry man, and go not with him into a solitary place. For blood is nothing in his sight, and where there is no help, he will overthrow thee. Consult not with a fool, for he cannot keep counsel, and do no secret thing before a stranger, for thou knowest not what he will bring forth. Open not thine heart to every man, lest he requite thee with a shrewd turn. Chapter 9. Take them hats off, y'all. Yeah, take them off. While I'm reading. Yes, sir. Be not jealous over the wife of thy bosom, and teach her not an evil lesson against thyself. Give not thy soul unto a woman to set her foot upon thy substance. Hey, that's a good one too. Meet not with an harlot, lest thou fall into her snares. That's definitely a good one. Use not much the company of a woman that is a singer, lest thou be taken with her attempts. Gaze not on a maid, that thou fall not by those things that are precious in her. Give not thy soul unto harlots, that thou lose not thine inheritance. Look not round about thee in the streets of the city, neither wander thou in the solitary places thereof. Turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman, and look not upon another's beauty. For many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman, for herewith love is kindled as a fire. Another good one. I'm gonna have to remember that. Chapter 9. Chapter 9 about women. Sit not at all with another man's wife, nor sit down with her in thine arms, and spend not thy money with her at the wine, lest thy heart incline unto her, and so through thy desire thou fall into destruction. Forsake not an old friend, for the new is not comparable to him, and a new friend is as new wine. When it is old, thou shalt drink it with pleasure. Envy not the glory of a sinner, for thou knowest not what shall be his end. And delight not in the thing that the ungodly have pleasure in. But remember, they shall not go unpunished unto their grave. Keep thee far from the man that hath power to kill, so shalt thou not doubt the fear of death. And if thou come unto him, make no fault, lest he take away thy life presently. Remember that thou goest in the midst of snares, and that thou walkest upon the battlements of the city. And as near as thou canst, guess at thy neighbor, and consult with the wise. Let thy talk be with the wise, and all thy communication in the law of the Most High. And let just men eat and drink with thee, and let thy glorying be in the fear of the Lord. For the hand of the artificer, the work shall be commended, and the wise ruler of the people for his speech. A man of an ill tongue is dangerous in his city, and he that is rash in his talk shall be hated. See, we get through chapter 10 before she get in here. Chapter 10. A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man will be well ordered. As the judge of the people is himself, and so are his officers. And what manner of man ruler of a city is, such are all they that dwell therein. An unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. And in the hand of God is the prosperity of man, and upon the person of the scribe shall he lay his honor. Bear not hatred to thy neighbor for every wrong, and do nothing at all by injurious practices. So pride is hateful before God and man. And by both that one commit adultery. By both that one commit iniquity. I'm sorry. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Why is earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man. For such as one setteth his own soul to sale, because while he liveth, he casteth away his bowels. The physician cutteth off a long disease, and he that is today a king, and tomorrow shall die. For when a man is dead, he shall inherit creeping things, beasts, and worms. And the beginning of pride is when one departed from God, and his heart is turned away from his maker. For pride is the beginning of sin, and he that hath it shall pour out abomination. And therefore the Lord brought upon them strange calamities, and overthrew them utterly. The Lord had cast down the thrones of proud princes, and set up the meek in their stead. And the Lord had plucked up the roots of the proud nations, and planted the lowly in their place. The Lord overthrew countries of the heathen, and destroyed them to the foundations of the earth. He took some of them away, and destroyed them, and hath made their memorial to cease from the earth. Pride was not made for men, nor furious anger for them that are born of a woman. They that fear the Lord are a sure seed, and they that love him an honorable plant. They that regard not the law are dishonorable seed, and they that transgress the commandments are a deceivable seed. Among brethren, he that is chief is honorable. So are they that fear the Lord in his eyes. The fear of the Lord goeth before the obtaining of authority, but roughness and pride is the losing thereof. Whether he be rich, noble, or poor, their glory is the fear of the Lord. And it is not meet to despise the poor man that hath understanding, neither is it convenient to magnify a sinful man. Great men and judges and potentates shall be honored, yet is there none of them greater than he that feareth the Lord? And unto the servant that is wise shall they that are free do service, and he that hath knowledge will not grudge when he is reformed. But be not unwise in doing thy business, and boast not thyself in the time of thy distress. And better is he that laboreth and aboundeth in all things, than he that boasteth himself and wanteth bread. My son, glorify thyself in meekness, and give it honor according to the dignity thereof. Who will justify him that sinneth against his own soul? And who will honor him that dishonoreth his life? The poor man is honored for his skill, and the rich man is honored for his riches. And he that is honored in poverty, how much more in riches? And he that is dishonorable in riches, how much more in poverty? And that was Rising Scripts for today. Ecclesiasticus chapters 6 through 10. We'll come back later and jump into reading with Shalom. Hey, open the door for your grandmother. Open the door for your grandmother. We'll come back later on and we'll jump back into reading with Shalom. We'll pick back up in chapter 9 and finish off chapter 9 later on in the book about Toussaint Louverture and the San Domingo Revolution. Catch me next time. Shalom, everybody. I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day.